Everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Tara with Mayhem Crafty Cards, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how I put together this card using the Llama Love stamp set and the Perspective Floor stencil from Missing Stamps. Now, I'd seen this in a live, and I knew that I had to have it being a hairdresser. And I'm also going to be showing you guys a small little haul that I had picked up as well. So the first one I picked up was Stuck Duck, and this is hilarious. I love this. So I'm going to read you guys some of the sentiments. So we have silence is golden, duct tape is silver. That's how I roll. What do you mean duct tape can't fix it? Just roll with it. Best friends give you duct tape, rope, and a shovel, and don't ask questions. Duct tape can't fix stupid, but it can muffle the sound. And me, right now, life status, currently holding it all together with duct tape, and then for the man who can fix anything. Now, it does come with some little duct tape rolls with it. The next thing I picked up was the Layering Potions stencil set. Now, there's 3 stencils in this set, along with a smaller stencil that makes the little bubbles for the potion bottles. I thought this was super cute, and I can see this for more than just Halloween. I love layering the stencil sets like this. It just makes it so much easier to make a background, just kind of a one-step type of deal. So, the next one that I picked up is the flame stencil. I thought this one was super unique as it's all one stencil, but it's a layering stencil. So you probably will have to mask some stuff off, but I can't wait to play with this one. So it's got 3 different sets of flames, just so you can layer it up. Now the next one that I got was my free stencil, and as soon as I seen this little hexagon background, I immediately thought of adding spiders to it. It just reminded me of a bunch of little spider webs. So this will be perfect for Halloween to throw some texture paste over. I really love this stencil. So this was the free one that came with my purchase. Now the stamp set we're using today is Llama Love. So I'm going to read you the sentiments from this one. So it's sending a whole llama love. Hope you have a long amazing day. Nothing to see here. There's one in every herd. Spit happens, and woolly awesome male. Now it does come with 5 little llamas. I chose to use the naked llama, the little llama that's laying down, clippers, and the basket that's holding the wool. So this is the Perspective Floor stencil. I really like this because I make a lot of scene cards. So if you don't want to use pattern paper or anything like that, this is a great stencil to use. And I went ahead and already die cut out and colored my images just to save some time. I used the Tim Holtz watercolor crayons, pencils, whatever you want to call them. And I used Lost Shadow and Hickory Smoke for my gray. Tea dye for my little llama. There was another one that I had used and I cannot remember the name of it. And then I used Rusty Hinge and Fired Brick for the basket, which worked out really well. So I am going to be using Jujubee ink from Tailored Expression. I just thought this would make a really great brick color for my background. So I'm using a sticky mat because that's all I use anymore for my stencils. And I do have the Glassboard Studio, and I will bring in, as you can see, my magnets just to hold it down. There's a sticky mat on top of one of my my small glassboard mats. And this is just to help me keep from blending up too far. So I'm going to be coming in with the Jujubee and a small detail blending brush just to kind of get in there and stencil up those bricks. This was a super quick card for me to make, even coloring and die cutting. So it really took no time at all. And I'm just lightly right now just going over the stencil just to add some base to it. I do like, as I get further on, where I do have some darker patches to it, it just, for me, it makes the floor seem, more real. So I'm going to actually do this whole background with that Jujubee ink. And this is the only ink that I'm using for the bricks. So there's 3 different floors. There's a cobblestone, and I have to look and see what the other one is. But I really liked the brick stencil with the llamas. It just kind of made it feel more like, I guess, barn-like. So after I'm done going over this the first time, I'm actually going to shift the stencil just a tiny bit. And you'll see me do that. Like, I, for some reason, could not line it back up to save my life. And when I finally did, I just went ahead and took that same brush and started with no ink, extra ink on it, and went back over it just to add a little bit of shadow underneath those bricks. So here's where you're going to see me struggle just a little bit to get that back underneath there. Now I'm laying my llamas down just to kind of see where I want to place them, because I am going to add more to the background. So here I am struggling just a little bit. I mean, it's really not that hard to line them back up. For some reason, the brain was not braining that day. So it's nice that I can shift that stencil and make a like subtle shadow underneath of those bricks. And like I said earlier, I'm just going back in with that same brush that I used and just lightly going over, because I don't want it to be super dark, just light enough. Now, towards the one side, I did have to pick up just a teeny tiny little bit of ink, but I made sure to brush that off so it wasn't super dark. So as I'm going over and making this card, I just have to tell you, you really have to go check her site out. It is great. So many different themes. There's an Alice in Wonderland theme. It just very unique. Just stuff that you wouldn't normally find in some of these other craft companies, which I like. I like having different options. So now that I have my floor completely done, as I slowly peeled it up, I just wanted to make sure that it was that you could see the little bit of a shadow. And I'm not sure if it's picking up on camera, but it is definitely there. So now I'm going to go ahead and add some background. And I just grabbed what I had in my stash because I didn't pick up any background stencils or anything like that. So now I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to place my llamas. And this was probably the best part, because towards like the middle of the card, I realized like I wanted to add an action wobbler to the little llama that was laying down that was holding the clippers. So after I kind of did a rough layout, I went ahead and glued the clippers to the back of the little llama first before I grabbed my action wobbler. I just wanted to be sure that I had enough space for the cord. So I waited until I glued that down before I put that action wobbler down. And I wish I would have had the mini action wobblers, because I felt like that would have been much better. But you can also cut down the small size. It's really easy. It's really thin that you can take your scissors and just kind of cut around the image. So I am currently trying to find my action wobblers. I had tried to reorganize everything. So when you reorganize, you kind of lose track of the stuff that you have been, you know where it's at. So yeah, check out Missing Stamps. They're really cool. I'm really glad that I finally made my purchase, because I'd been checking her website out for quite a long time now and just didn't pull the trigger. Don't ask me why, but I just didn't grab anything. But I'm really, really happy that I did. Like, I cannot wait to use the Stuck Duck, the Flame Stencil, and some of the other products that I had purchased through her. So yeah, if you're in the market for some punny sentiments, definitely go check them out. So as I'm like laying this out, I'm trying to see what the best placement would be. Now, I went back and forth with trying to decide if I was going to pop my naked llama up, or if I was just going to glue him flat, since I was going to use the action wobbler. And I did just decide to glue him flat to the card base. Now, this is an A2 size card. I should have mentioned that to begin with. I did it in landscape, which I typically don't do, but the floor had worked out so well and it gave me so much more space. I went ahead and just did the landscape. Now, since I did lay him down flat, and I am going to be popping up the sheep or the llama that's laying down, I am going to pop up my basket of wool. And I did use some like 3D foam squares for that. So there's at least, some dimension to the card without it being overwhelming. I didn't want there to be too many things going on at once. So using the action wobbler and then the foam tape and then having the naked llama just flat against the card base, I think it really worked in this case. Now, the only thing I didn't do that I wish I would have done was added some white gel pen accents. And I always tend to forget about that. I don't know why. It just does not. I just don't think about it until after I've already made the card. So I went ahead and glued down those clippers to the back of that little llama. Now, placement was a little difficult for me because I wanted to make sure that I caught the whole the cord of the clippers underneath that little llama. And with you still seeing the end of the clippers. Now, you can place these clippers wherever you want on this scene. I mean, I thought it was funny if I would have done it from the top, but the action wobbler just kind of made it. Now, I do use my reverse tweezers a lot, especially when I'm gluing things down. And it does kind of help me, like, move my image while I'm waiting for that glue to dry to kind of see where I want to place it. So now that I have the action wobbler on, you can see where I cut out just a little section of it. Now, you can still see it kind of on the card, but I thought that, it wasn't going to be super noticeable. So I got him stuck down, and of course I had to wobble him at first. I had to make sure that he was going to move the way I wanted it to move. And then I went ahead and glued that naked llama down flat. I shouldn't say naked. The freshly cut llama on the scene. And I didn't want him to be too far back but too far forward. So I really like the placement of where he's at. And then for the little basket, I did go ahead and, like I said, use the 3D foam squares just to add a little bit more dimension to that. And I always add a little bit of extra adhesive, usually liquid, just so that way I have a little bit of wiggle room just in case I don't line it up straight, which happens a lot. Now, I should have stamped my sentiment before I had put my action wobbler on, but I'm going to be using Spit Happens, and then underneath that little llama, I'm going to be using Nothing to See Here. Pardon me. It reminds me of when kids are little and they find their parents either clippers or shears or whatever and cut their siblings' hair. So I knew I had to use that sentiment underneath it there just because that's just what it reminded me of. Now, these stamped so well that I actually pulled out a stamp block, which I never do for sentiments. Usually it goes right in my MISTI. But they stamped, so crisply, just right out of the package. I'd never used this set before until now. And it really just stamped beautifully. And it was nice and crisp. So, like I said, if you haven't checked this out, go check out her stuff because I have fallen in love with it. And you'll be seeing more of missing stamps on my channel. So as I'm finishing this, I just want to tell you guys, thank you so much for subscribing, for, just being a part of my journey. I know I took a little bit of a break due to, some medical things, but I am back in full force and I am super excited for 2026. I have some pretty big goals that I want to accomplish this year, and I'm very set to do that. So if you have not already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and let me know what you guys want to see in the future. I'm always up for more ideas, what you guys want to see. I try to just create what makes me happy. So until next time, guys, like I said, subscribe and like, and let me know what you want to see, and I will see you guys later. Have a great week. Bye.